Sup guys, it's Tello here, back to another video for today. I hope everyone's having a damn good one. I'm not gonna lie, I've been taking a couple days to myself lately. We've been taking a break and just doing other things and, stepping away from the whole, streaming and doing YouTube content creation stuff because, I forget that there's a life outside of these four walls, and I've just been living with the family, having a little parties here and there and going out with some friends. It's been a good time, I'm not gonna lie. But of course, we've been playing World of Warcraft, and we've been, going through the trenches of the Mr. Pandaria pre-patch and understanding things that I've never seen before, in MoP, because I wasn't there during the original MoP back in the day. But I played MoP Remix, and I was really enticed to play the actual re-release of MoP, which we're heading into now. And I wanted to give you my thoughts on things so far that I have, enjoyed, what I would recommend, and how I could see this being beneficial to Blizzard in the future if MoP actually pops off for them. At least the ideas and the approach that they're going with MoP this time around compared to the previous version of MoP all those years ago. First and foremost, I think the pre-patch is really fun right now. I'm having a really good time with my guild. We just been leveling, doing dungeons, and, doing content and having fun. That's where I'm going to just leave it at that. I think this is a good point for every other player to do the same exact thing. Do your dungeons, learn your class, and get through some maybe PvP to get some honor gear. Maybe you want to get some conquest gear, however far you want to push yourself. This is a perfect moment for you to understand your class changes that happen from Cataclysm into Mr. Pandaria pre-patch, and eventually where Mr. Pandaria is going to go with all the balance changes as well, because a lot of metas are going to be shifted compared to the original MoP to this new revamped version of MoP, where metas are going to be changed entirely, and maybe we might see some different comps in Arena. Maybe we might see some different groups come, Mr. Pandaria raiding, or even dungeons, right? So this is a good time to just be a part of the hype, I would say, be a part of the pre-patch and learn a class, relearn your class, or even pick a new class, however you want to go about it. This is my, favorite point of WoW when a pre-patch happens before we get into another expansion. Now, I'm not going to say, obviously, a new expansion, because MoP is an old expansion we're replaying again, but with all the balance changes and everything that is happening, it's actually a kind of a new, spicier version of Mr. Pandaria, because we are seeing classes elevated to a new, point that we've never seen before, while other classes are getting nerfed and brought down to a point they've never been before. So a lot of different changes are happening, which is going to shake up the future of where Blizzard makes other decisions, which we're going to talk about later on. Now, one of my favorite things I would say during the pre-patch that I am loving so far is just learning a new class. I never thought that I would enjoy Warlock this much, and I played Warlock in Wrath. I didn't play it for Cataclysm, but I wanted to revisit the class again because Warlock's always been one of my other favorite classes that I loved playing so much. And besides Paladin and Warrior, those are my other two favorite classes. I really feel like Warlock is one of my favorite caster classes, and I had people tell me, don't play Warlock. It is a very button-heavy, extreme button float style of a class, and it requires a lot of attention to detail. And I'm going to say, I understand what they're talking about. There's a lot of buttons come Mr. Pandaria, and it's one of the most button-heavy expansions ever created when it came to World of Warcraft. But I will say, for the most part, I think once you understand the class and once you practice with it enough and you do some target dummy practice, you're doing dungeon practice and you're playing with your friends, or maybe you're even doing some PvP and figuring out the rotations, you start to understand your class more and more. And with anything in life, it just takes time. And I think after some time, once you put in the work, you start looking up maybe some guides online, or you're looking at maybe some older footage. I was watching some old video footage from like 10, 11 years ago on some old Warlock heads that were just, playing their class at MoP and at that time and showing the rotations and what they did. You start really understanding and appreciating the effort it takes to, have an understanding and a grasp to master your class. And I'm not saying I mastered the Warlock whatsoever. There's still a lot of experience, a lot of macros, a lot of knowledge and skill check that I have to go through. But I'm taking the time with it because I like to have fun with a class. I like to see the ins and outs of it. I like to see the weaknesses that the class has versus other classes. I like to see the pros of the burst windows that the class has, because I know a lot of classes in MoP has their burst windows, and it's a very, heavy, fight period when it comes to PvP. Some fights can last long, some can last short, depending on, the type of gearing that you have, or maybe you're in arena, depending on, the group comp. But I really like the style of, what the Warlock provides to the table, what I provide to the party as well in dungeons, and just the amount of damage that I like also provide, because I love doing damage, right? I'm a DPS player. I like damage. That's just me. But overall, though, I'm enjoying the Warlock. It makes me want to learn other classes as well, like maybe even try a Hunter out, maybe even try a Shaman, maybe even try, playing a Warrior again. I haven't played Warrior since Wrath, so maybe an Arms Warrior, a Fury Warrior, just maybe try one of those things out. We'll see what happens. But for the most part, I'm just looking forward to, getting involved. I'm really happy that I took the time out for the past couple days, not recording, not streaming, but just playing the video game and having fun, and really, just coming to my own with this class and trying to put things together. So far, I got a lot of good gear for the Warlock. We got a lot of conquest gear from the PvP vendor, and we'll be getting a lot of our pre-raid bis for the one of the vendors for your tokens that you can get during the the LFR. If that's what a lot of people are doing right now, where they're just spamming for those obsidian fragments to get their pre-raid gear. But it's pretty good gear, I think, for the most part. A lot of it's like 384. The conquest gear is like 390, so you can get a lot of good gear for yourself too if you're trying to just pump out some PvP content, or pump out some heroic dungeon content, and just get whatever you can get before you get into Mist of Pandaria, so you have some decent leveling gear while you are going through the expansion, and then get some better gear from there. Now, this is where I want to talk about something important, because Blizzard has made these balance changes to Mist of Pandaria that obviously we have seen on the the Wowhead posts, and people are looking at all these changes, and they are seeing the differences of everything that they are implementing, from class balances to arena changes, that is totally different from the original mop. That's going to affect the entire meta in the next couple months on how we play the game as players. But I really feel like also this could be a really good thing for Blizzard in a way, because if the player reception is really positive on this, they can then change a lot of other things that happened with other expansions in the past that players might have not liked. Whether they want to see Warlords of Draenor again, but they want to see a fast version of it. They don't want to see a long drawn out version of WoD. They want to see a more elevated version of that expansion. And other balance changes happen in that expansion as well to make things a little bit more interesting. This is a perfect opportunity for Blizzard to almost rewrite their history, kind of like how Epic Games did with like Fortnite, where Fortnite went through its first season, right? And it went through its OG time to its, ending chapter 10 or chapter 11, whatever the chapter was. Then it converted into Fortnite season 2, right? And then it went through its brand new chapter. So it's the same game, but yet different with, another polish on it. So I really feel like that if this decision to do balance changes, to change the course of history of Mist of Pandaria, to do something that we've never seen before with MoP, and shifting the metas of where classes performed, and at the same time doing this with other expansions, but just fixing the wrongdoings of those expansions, we could see a lot of different things with this version or timeline of World of Warcraft that we've never seen before, whether it comes to Mist of Pandaria, whether it comes to WoD, whether it comes to Legion, whether it comes to, if they even do BFA, who knows, doesn't matter. All I'm saying is that we can see a brand new rewrite of, World of Warcraft before our very eyes, and even though it's content we've already played, it can feel different as we're playing it, and that's the difference. That's the differential. Now, I already know what the comments are going to be like below. But Tello, you mean to tell me I gotta play the same expansion over and over again and for $15 a month? Blizzard's not taking care of us. We want the future, not the past. We want this and not that.
It's time to stop!
Bro, calm down. It's not that serious. If you don't want to play the game, just don't play the game, bro. You don't need to pay Blizzard any money if you don't want to play the game. If you don't want to see 100 re-releases of expansions, I feel you. It's okay. You don't need to play it. I'll play it for you. You can just watch the videos. Much love to you. Regardless of any of that, I really am looking forward to just playing Mist of Pandaria. I never played the original, so I get to play the revamped of the original with many different balance changes and everything that I've seen in the past as well, because I've read up on the information too. I get to look into the future to see what happens with, after the endings of MoP, and whether we go into WoD, whether we go into Legion, whether we go into BFA. regardless, I'll be here for that too. And if they're revamped versions of previous expansions that never had these changes, it's almost like we're playing an entirely different game, regardless if it's a re-release of an original expansion or not. I still get to be a part of that and, talk about those things, which I'm very much looking forward to playing as well, even if it was a shitty state back in the day for some players. But this can be a new day for some players in the current state of 2025 with much more changes, and Blizzard can look at their mistakes in the past and rectify those issues by making some really good changes. So I'm looking forward to the positives, and I know that's hard to do in 2025 when a lot of people being very, very negative about a lot of things, but I'm keeping a higher head this time around, and I'm not keeping my hopes high, but I'm keeping my expectations low and just having a better understanding of things. And I guess I'm just growing as a person when it comes to understanding things as I keep, getting older in life. My 30th birthday just passed, so much love to you. We're becoming wise Tello now. Maybe I'm becoming Unk status. Who the fuck knows? But yes, that is pretty much it for the video for today. I'm really looking forward to, even streaming some Mr. Pandaria. I gotta put some streams down. We gotta get some more streams in. HelloJTello on Twitch. You know the damn deal, editor. Keep the fucking tag in before I pop your ass. Don't you worry. I'll take care of that amigo later on. Much love to him. You better watch yourself. But yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed the video, and that's pretty much it. Let me know your thoughts and comments below, how you feel about Mr. Pandaria. Do you think that Blizzard is ultimately gonna, do good with this? Do you think it's a good change for them to have more balance changes? What class are you guys gonna be playing come, the pre-patch right now, which is currently happening? And also, what are you gonna be playing permanently come, official mop? And what classes do you think I should try out and why? Give me a couple comments below. Give me some thoughts. I'll be reading through all that stuff below, and all that good stuff. I don't know ever how to end these videos, and I think the guy outside is cutting grass, so we gotta end the video. Much love to you. I'll catch you on the next one. If he keeps cutting grass, I'm gonna shove it in his ass. Settle down!